Hey, what's good, y'all? J Boogie in full effect mode. Bump down is the sound. You know how we do. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm, of course, J Boogie in full effect mode. This is The Lounge Presents, and today we're going to have a duo in the lounge space that we're going to be inviting in very shortly. But before we do, just got to get a couple of ting out. First off, tomorrow, Saturday the 20th, over in Toronto, to all the Toronto homies, all the Toronto brethren, you need to check out the Drake tomorrow night. Mandem, our fams, straight up fam, Rich Kid and Solitaire hosting, Nana on the turns, along with a couple of other DJs. Sorry, Nana, I don't know their names like off top, but he's bringing back the good music party, and he's doing it tomorrow night at the Drake. So if you're in Toronto in the 416 area, I most definitely recommend you check that out, because the thing's gonna be fire still. Okay, and then we've also got coming up, we want to send a shout out to mans like DJ Big Jacks. He's gonna be out in Saskatoon. He's bringing his butter party to Saskatoon, which was 1 or 2 weeks ago here in Winnipeg. I know he's got another one he's doing out in Toronto, but he is in Saskatoon. He's bringing brothers to Saskatoon. So all the Saskatoon folks, yo, definitely check it out. Big Jack's selector for real. You want to experience that one time. Also, we've got next Saturday, the Cultivation Festival will be taking place. And if you're not familiar with the Cultivation Festival, it is a festival that is celebrating, promoting, and sharing Filipino culture in Winnipeg, and the various art forms, the various things like food, art, music, and dance. That's the focus. And so what we're going to be doing in collaboration with the Cultivation Festival is the Scratcher fam, Scratcher Winnipeg, we're doing the DJ Workshop pop-up, which we did 2 years ago, pre-pandemic. In fact, Cultivation 2 years ago was actually shut down because of the pandemic. But we were lucky enough to get Scratcher off before, things got really crazy. So we're looking forward to doing this again. It's a great collaboration. The first one we did 2 years ago, the attendance was awesome. I saw faces I've never seen before, which is super encouraging. So I want to let you know, the DJ Workshop Pop-Up takes place next Saturday, the 27th, from 7 to 10 p.m., and that's going down at Canto Bar and Lounge, which is at 44 McPhillips. You'll be familiar with the spot because it was the former Continental. Yeah, former Continental, right? Former Continental, right? She's not even answering. Yeah, I think it was the Conti originally. So, it's good, thanks. So definitely check it out. It is all ages as well, and that is one component that we stress, is that it's an all ages workshop. So we encourage everyone to come out. DJs, I don't care, from novice to professional, skill level doesn't matter. This is literally, think of it as a cipher. You know what I'm saying? From 7 to 8, it'll be open table. So it's you get to warm up for an hour. The workshop will take place from 8 to 9. And then from 9 to 10, we'll be doing the actual Scratcher session. So you will get an opportunity to employ whatever you learn during the workshop and have fun with it and vibe off each other. Trust, it's live. It's so live. And it's awesome when you see interest in turntablism here in Winnipeg, because it's a very, very important part of hip-hop culture. As you know, that's what we do here, Lounge Presents. Okay, it's about hip-hop culture. We promote that shit till we die. Done, okay? For real. So yeah, definitely check that out. And then I think one more thing I want to mention. All y'all know that I love lifting. It's just it's just my thing. So I definitely want to make sure I mention the movement folks. They're doing a powerlifting meet October 22nd. That's going to be going down. So for all my lifters out there, I know y'all out there, and I know y'all tune in every once in so often. So make sure if if you're ready, nutrition's ready, and your training's ready, enter that powerlifting movement classic. And then last but not least, Next Level will be doing their first ever Next Level games also in October, but we will keep you posted on that. In the meantime, let's get to the reason why we're here today. We're going to welcome into the lounge space a duo that goes by the name of Turn the Gun, consisting of the Gumshoe Strut and Yy. For anyone who is not already familiar with Turn the Gun and these two men, this is going to be, I think, eye-opening for you, because having had the opportunity to see what these guys have done basically from jump, going back to Your Brother My Backpacking team, to see what they're doing now. I mean, this new project is just so dope. They take boom bap, like it's boom bap, you know what I'm saying? They take that boom bap sound and they give it to you exactly the way you want it. But they also hit you off with the science. They drop science, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to get into that, of course, right about now. Let's invite them into the lounge space. I see your request. So we're going to let the Gumshoe Strut, let Yy into here. I'm accepting y'all, but I need y'all to hold tight for a second. Oh, okay. Hey, there we go. There we go. Yo, can y'all hear me okay, though?
I'm good.
We're good?
Hear you. Can you hear us?
Awesome. Okay, dope. Let's start off by having you both introduce yourselves to everyone in the lounge space right about now.
Give her, yeah.
Right on. Good to see you, Jay Boogie.
Yes, man. Oh, hell yes.
Oh, man. It's been way too long.
So long, man. That's why I was so looking forward to this. We're going to catch up, and, man, we're going to be chatty-catty up in here, okay, today?
No, it's true. You have been there since just about the very...
Literally.
I think
straight up.
You might have promoted the first show we ever played, actually.
Straight up, man. Straight up.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Yy.
And my name is the Gumshoe Strut. The Gumshoe
Hell yeah.
Strut. Yes.
And because you guys are who you are, I mean, we gotta drop a bomb for Turn the Gun, okay? Just because.
Yeah.
Fellas, it's great to have you in the lounge space. We always start off the segment by asking how you were introduced to hip-hop culture. So, whoever wants to go first.
Okay, I'll take that one. So I kind of stumbled into it real young. I moved from Calgary when I was 8 years old, and ended up to a Catholic school, St. John Brebeuf School, which had a variety of cultures over there, but a big Filipino contingent over there. So it was a lot of like those Dennis and so were really good friends.
Yeah. If for a second we're getting it's a little breaking up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but you're kind of getting choppy.
Oh no.
Let's just do a quick test. Like, is your signal okay?
It looks like it's good to me. Is it?
Yeah. Okay. You were just coming like a little bit choppy.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
No. Move the microphone a little bit closer. Yeah. So I was just introduced to it pretty young. When I ended up coming 8, so days tougher than leather. I was Fat Boys, yeah, Prince. The rap tracks came out at that time, and it was all rap, only rap from there on out until
Yeah, man. It's still choppy for some reason, but I think I've got a hack. Hold tight 1 second. Let's listen to some Ally for a quick sec. I think I've got a hack for how to take care of that, okay?
Cool.
Keeping the white people in mind what they stand by. Keeping the white people in time what they stand by. Keeping it nice, keep it quiet, you can stand on. Waking the ride, even if it means I'm an alibi. Not to each home, it's a cowboy. But it's a joke, don't let it go, cause he felt time. Imagine the feels, nowhere to go, call it now. Over yourself and listen up. And now I
Check. Can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, Danny, I'm so sorry that I had to interrupt you twice. Please continue.
Okay, well,
Let's start with Tougher Than Leather.
so stop me again if it's not sounding good here.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was just kind of fumbled into it, before rap really blew up. The days of Tougher Than Leather, Fat Boys, Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. The days of the rap tracks hit at that point, and that was to me, the beginning of rap starting to really blow up. And then of course Hammer came around and everything. So yeah, kind of there from, the golden age of late 80s. Fell in love with it.
Now, since you went to Brebeuf, and as you mentioned, there was a significant Filipino population there. I almost might know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. Wes, as you're starting to get into the culture and really start to explore it and get into it, were your homies around you and other people around you also discovering it at the same time as you, or were you kind of like odd man out?
It kind of felt like right when I came there, late 87, it was kind of already there. So I was
okay.
Like I was, I mean, not everybody there was listening to it.
Right.
But, proportionately, I mean, that's all I kind of knew at that point. And then, at some point I moved to Port of Prairie for a few years. And it's like, oh, nobody's listening to rap here.
Right. I can imagine
how many people I knew there who listened to rap. So, but yeah, no, at the time it was kind of just like, I feel like I'm playing catch up, and it just kind of made sense. It just kind of resonated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what resonate, it's a great word. What was it about hip hop culture that resonated with you? If you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something hit you and that bug didn't leave. It's still there. What was it about the culture?
That's a great question. I mean, I was really young, but I just felt it. It just resonated in a way that, still to this day, no other music has hit me that way. Which is weird because, like, I mean, my kids are a little bit older right now, but thinking back to when they were like 8 years old, it's just like, oh, I can't picture them stumbling onto something that's like, I don't know, out of the box for the time, part of the mainstream culture. But like, and just like, no, I found it now, like it's just, but I guess that just happens sometimes, so.
No, man, I can definitely relate, obviously.
Yeah, totally.
Yo, the Gumshoe Strut.
Yo.
How were you first introduced to the culture?
So, yeah, we touched on this a little bit in, the last time I was on here. But, for me, I think it was a little bit more of a trajectory towards it. In elementary school, probably grade 5, 6, that was like, for me, that was the time of, like Hammer, Vanilla Ice, things like that, right? Just fun stuff that, was like exciting for kids, at the time, right? So, like rocking the Hammer pants and matching that up with a, like a button-down silk shirt and tucking them joints in. That was kind of probably my introduction to like rap music,
right?
Morphing into like Crisscross, kind of coming out of junior or elementary, and then getting into junior high. That's sort of where the culture aspect sort of started creeping in. The friends that I had and circle that I had around me at the time, we started all listening, and like recording Rap City every afternoon and things like that, skipping school to watch Rap City. On
Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesday afternoon, 2:30. Then they moved it back to 3:30. Yeah. So yeah, we were skipping school. We were, or recording Rap City, whatever it was, and coming up across all kinds of different, joints and, making like dubbing these things onto cassette tapes because we didn't have access to the joints, right? So we were like taking them straight from the video, running the RCAs into our cassette decks and recording them that way, and then making like these weird little mixtapes. So I was doing that, and we started getting into breakdancing kind of around the same time. My homie Murray Murder, John,
yes, sir.
Bazooka Joe's brother.
Yep.
Those guys had a like a cool little breakdancing video that we just watched constantly and tried to figure out how to do the wave and, figure out how we can get it, like as cool a backspin as those videos. So that was probably the introduction, like to the culture side of things, and really getting, I would say, the bug in terms of, I listen to rap, and then I'm always looking for things related to it.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Now, musically, what were the both of you growing up around? What was being played around the house when you were growing up?
Well, for me, like, my dad used to DJ. This is when I was, like less than 5 years old, when my dad was still around.
Mm-hmm.
So he used to DJ, and he used to, he'd have sound system, take it out to gigs and everything like that, the barbecues, cookouts, all that kind of stuff. So there was like, he had records, and when he left, he left my mom with a few stacks.
Yeah.
And so I would always be kind of like playing around with these records and just listening to, random things, going back through them, based on my memory. Like, there was just a bunch of random things, but that, I don't know, like that was kind of like the music I would say that was going on in my house, because it was kind of influenced by my mom at that point, would have been things like Lionel Richie, Commodores, Billy Ocean, like those are the things I can remember. She had a couple 7-inches that just like caught my attention, like Blueberry Hill, Kung Fu Fighting. I was a kid, so I love that jam.
Right? Of course.
And I would play the hell out of that one. But yeah, that was kind of what was going on around my house.
What about you, yeah?
Yeah, around my house, I mean, it wasn't quite like that. Like, I remember like a lot of things, like more like, Springsteen, Billy Joel, and things like that being
okay.
But I do remember that when my parents, when I was probably 15 and started to get into vinyl, the first records I got was pillaging my parents' collection, and it's like, oh wow, Songs in the Key of Life, and or the White Album from the Beatles, or Cheech and Chong. It's really random things. But I also had an older brother, 2 years older than me, that was really influential. And he always had really impeccable taste in hip hop. Like, he was on to, Freestyle Fellowship.
Damn. Okay.
Like, we were living in Portage la Prairie, and he was still up on like Freestyle Fellowship from, inner city griots and stuff.
All right then.
I still remember, talking about Rap City. Like, I remember recording it, coming home, and with my brother on the same episode, watching for the first time Souls of Mischief, That's When You Lost, and Common Sense, Sold by the Pound. And it was just like, whoa,
yes.
Rap.
Oh yeah.
Right now, it's great.
Yeah.
So I got influenced by my brother, for sure.
That's dope. The funny thing about the White Album, it's funny you mentioned the White Album. I remember, I never really, like, growing up, when I heard the Beatles, because my parents were listening to it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's the Beatles, blah blah, whatever. It's, to me, it was just kind of like, okay, whatever. It wasn't until high school that I honestly started to appreciate the Beatles, and it was because of the White Album.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, their later stuff was like, and to go from pop star, pushing boundaries and stuff. I mean, I guess they took from a lot of stuff too, but it was hugely influential, and some really interesting stuff, I think. But yeah, to a 15-year-old, it was like, oh, maybe there's something outside of rap here.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, when we discover something that impacts us to the point where it actually becomes a part of our lives, like literally becomes a part of our lives, it's one thing to say, yo, I really dig the culture, and I love every part of the culture, and it's dope, and yada yada yada. But not everyone wakes up and says, yo, I'm gonna pick up a mic.
Right.
We've all rapped to all our favorite albums back, when we were younger. We learned all the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has written rhymes at some point in their lives if they've been, following the culture and really, really been down in the culture, like, from time. Everyone's written a rhyme.
Yeah.
But we all can't rhyme, yo. Trust, we all can't rhyme. We may have tried, but it just did not work. So how did you know that you wanted to pick up a mic and it was something that you knew you could contribute something to?
Well, I'll be thinking this through as I answer it, but like for me, I think I wrote my first rap in I think it was grade 8. And I don't particularly remember exactly what I wrote, but I do remember my friends coming across my little piece of paper that had a line or 2 lines on it and getting laughed out of the room. Uh, so like at that point, like, it was just kind of like, thought it was cool, whatever. I think by the time high school came along, I wasn't really writing at that point, but then like I think it was sometime around grade 10 or 11, listening to The Roots when Illadelph Half-Life came
Hey.
along. There was a Source issue that had, I guess they'd have the verse feature of the month. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
But
I think it was verse of the month, yeah.
yeah, it was Black Thought from one of the songs on Illadelph Half-Life. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But basically me like studying that verse and like memorizing that verse and then like trying to write like that. Never being able to write like that, but like, trying to, like the words and the wordplay and things like that and trying to, just take something from that. And I think like my first couple raps were probably highly influenced by that.
Do you remember any of them?
No, but
okay.
if you go back, it exists on Spotify. There's an episode of the PNC podcast.
Okay.
Where I talk with McEnroe, and we kind of talk about my introduction, and my introduction to him, and me giving him a tape, and I do a song over a Ghetto Concept beat.
Oh, yo.
Yeah. So I shouldn't be promoting this because for my own sake. But that would give you an example of, like,
okay. We're going to have to peep that.
Time, what I was trying to do, not doing, but yeah, like that would have been probably like very early me. Till, a couple years later when, the underground, like, like the backpack rap, whatever you want to call it, backpack rap.
That wonderful word.
Started like really taking off, right? Like the Anticons and stuff like that, right? And like, like a lot of stuff that was coming out of LA and stuff like that too, like, and like the Buck 65s and the Sebutones and 6.2 and like listening to that kind of stuff, it was like, it kind of presented this, like off the wall, off kilter sort of thing, right? And so that was fairly influential for me at the time. And I kind of, like my rhyming sort of like took a little bit of a, I guess, influence from some of that. And so,
right,
going away from like, like trying to be like Black Thought to,
of course, yeah,
trying to be different, and then it took me a long time to find my voice. But yeah, I mean, just to go back to the original question, that would have been where I sort of like found that interest in picking up a mic and having the opportunity to make something out of it was when having something different and being a little bit different was cool. And it always has been, really. But in some people's eyes, I guess not, right? But it just opened the door for me to be a little bit more brave, I guess, in putting myself out there. And yeah.
Awesome. And I mean, and that's what artistry is all about. So that's the proper progression, dog. Proper progression. What about you, Yai?
I remember the first rhyme I ever wrote was I I don't think I ever wrote anything else in my head like Jay-Z, you know, and Biggie and all of those people. I'm always very meticulous with the pen. But I remember being in grade 5 or 6 and walking to school and writing a whole version of Principal's Office by Young MC in my head and having ready to go, and showed up to the schoolyard and kicked it for my friends, and they just, like everyone else, they clowned me.
Oh, yo, man. Yo.
Right?
Oh, man.
But no, I mean, beyond that, like, again, because of my brother, I got exposed to things pretty young. Like, I remember Dell in '91 was really big for the album. But I remember, like, hearing things like that and being like, you know, oh, I would, hearing a rhyme and listening to it over and over again, and then being like, I would have probably switched the line to this or gone in this way, you know.
Yep.
And then this kind of progresses where you just kind of have this idea, you write it down, and then you string together a verse, you know. For me, so I moved to Portage la Prairie in grade 7 to grade 12. So, you know, not a long time, but formidable years.
Yeah.
And there was 2 still very, very good friends of mine. My good friend Mark, who was making beats, and we hit it off right away and started making music together. And as well, Tim, DJ Co-op. So the 3 of us started our first, I mean, we never played a show or anything there. It was totally basement rap. But, you know, wrote some songs, did some demos, spiraled from there, and ended up, you know, giving demos to, again, McEnroe, getting in the crew of Your Brother in My Backpack with, you know, Bazooka Joe, Ness, our good friend Nick, General Gist, and of course BJ. Yeah, and things kind of really took off from there, where we were, you know, focusing on playing shows, recording songs, and honing our craft. And I mean, you were there, like the early stuff. It was raw. It was rough. We had a lot to develop,
Yep.
but both of our styles were always there. You know, like you can go back to, you know, the first Guy stuff, the first Gumshoe Strut stuff on Milch and Allegra, or even, and it's like there's no way that's not us. You know, we've refined our voices, we've refined our pens, we've taken it to new levels. But, you know, for me, like, I always had that syncopated, I always wrote, like, the way I write a rhyme, there's number. If you look at one of my rhyme pages, there's numbers all over the place, because it's very, like, mathematical, and I know where the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 is, which allows me to duck in and out of, you know, the bars and things like that. And that was happening back then too. So it's just kind of a natural progression that happens. But those first sparks are just like that, you know, I think I could maybe do that a little bit different. Not that I'm going to do it better, but at the time you think like maybe I could do that line better than Dell. Like,
yeah. That Dell. He thinks he's so funky. Yo, right about now. Right about now, I really think it's appropriate that we, for McEnroe, because his name's been already mentioned twice, and that honestly goes and speaks to his influence in the Winnipeg rap scene. So we got to give it up for McEnroe.
Totally.
Hells yeah.
Definitely. So here we are. We got 2 guys who have come upon the realization that, yo, we gonna pick up mics. And you've already alluded to the fact that you guys came together with Your Brother in My Backpack. Now, how did that crew coalesce? How did that become Your Brother in My Backpack?
Well, basically, it was, I think it was Bazooka Joe was the one that sort of introduced myself and Yai, for sure. Okay. And then that, like, basically it was like, you know, I grew up with Bazooka Joe, you know, from, like, they moved from Churchill when I was in grade 7, I believe, grade 7 or grade 8. And I was really good friends with his brother, one of my best friends throughout, like, school years. And, you know, John Smith, Joe, was a couple years older than us in high school. And, you know, we knew he rapped and everything like that. And we always, you know, you know, I always looked up to him, like, in terms of, you know, rapping and everything like that. And then, like, you know, come those later, like, you know, coming out of high school or just at the end of high school, you know, Joe would come over to record, you know, random verses so he could take a demo to McEnroe or take a demo to Honeycutt over at Sam the Record Man in Polo Park. And,
Hell yeah.
you know, through that, you know, like that's when I was also starting to dabble in, you know, goofing around with making beats and things like that. And once, you know, that sort of like, once I sort of got to a certain level, I guess, where, you know, it was a little more, I could sort of keep up, you know, we sort of started hanging out like more in a rap context, like where it was like more mutual, right? Like I wasn't just recording him. You know, we would, you know, goof around with things like that. And then he was also, you know, I believe meeting, yeah, Danny, yeah, through shows. But me and yeah, I had never met. And then yeah, like there was one time where, you know, he played some stuff of Danny's for us, and it was like, yo, this guy cool, you know, whatever. And then I think we arranged like a get together or something at General Gist's house, and it was like myself, Yai, I can't remember who brought Ness along.
I think like I first met Ness from Joe bringing me to
Born on the Break or what?
Born on the Break, Hip Hop 101, one of the UMFM
Right.
shows there, and me just kind of being a tag along at that point. But us all just hitting it off, and there was some point where it was the five of us, the four rappers in General Gist all together. Might have been at General Gist's house, and we recorded a track. Never came out, but like we kind of passed it around on tapes, played it at live.
Yeah, I remember that tape.
The Acme Posse Cut, it was called. And yeah, that just kind of, snowballed from there. You know, like officially, we've probably only done, I don't know, probably less than 10 songs with all of us on it.
Yeah, true that.
You know, like everybody in that crew is still, my closest friends, and going back, how I first met everybody was actually through St. Louis and through DJ Honeycutt. I introduced myself at a show, hit it off, and St. Louis connected me and Joe, who was just starting to kind of be the understudy at McEnroe. Really hit it off, became really, really close friends real quick. And then, Joe introduced me to BJ, everybody else, and we went from there.
Yo, right about now, it would be remiss for us to not just pause for a moment and just talk a little bit about the foundation that was your brothers in my backpack. Because apart from Turn the Gun, you two, we also have Ness Windrush.
Yep.
We have Bazooka Joe. Yep. Two artists that are still also very much a part of the rap zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Very much a part of the music community, and very much still doing what we expect them to be doing, if I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like I would, if any of y'all just stop rapping one day, I feel like I'd honestly sit down and talk and say, what the fuck's going on with y'all, man? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I almost expect to hear you guys rapping until we're done. Like, till we're all done.
Might just happen.
I mean, for real. Like, that's literally, like, I feel like that's an expectation that just kind of developed over time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we're going to be 80 doing this again at some point.
Yeah. And
for
it's
real.
Like none of us, we never did this for money. None of us have made, anything significant out of it. So it's just like, this is our sanity. This is getting really good
Exactly.
our own ways at something that we do, especially coming from a time where you didn't learn rap in a workshop. You learned it
Exactly.
listening and through osmosis of the people around you.
Straight up.
Like being around Ness, BJ, Joe, then later McEnroe, Pip Skid, Gruff, Bird, like Honeycutt, like you just get better, and they push you in different ways without
Steel sharpens steel.
Yeah, it really does.
Straight up.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it's,
it's crazy. Like we could literally this live could go on for a long time because as more names are being mentioned, I'm sitting here going, damn, I can't keep dropping bombs for every name that gets dropped because there's just too many names, like in all honesty. And I just don't want anyone to think that, yo, why didn't you drop a bomb though? But it's just, we could, you know, like we've all been involved long enough and every name that's been mentioned has been involved long enough. Like we could literally like keep going for a while. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that I would like to definitely do right now is give you both mad props and salute you both all day, because as I mentioned in the beginning, I had the opportunity to watch this growth. And I remember when I first heard you guys, I knew that I was going to hear from you guys for a while. Something just, I don't know if it's like, you know, how DJs are very adept at, I mean, we can be A&Rs. You know that. We can pick singles. Yeah. Straight up. We can pick better singles sometimes than what they do. And there have been many instances where DJs did play a song long enough that it ended up being released as an official single. So it may be that. It may be the fact that DJs are your best A&Rs. But when I heard you guys, I just knew. I was like, these guys are going to be around for a while. And thank you for proving me right. Straight up and down.
Well, hey, thanks for all the help along the way. I mean, like, actually, like, you know, I have a clipping of you reviewing my first album, Clockworks.
Yes.
Uptown, right?
Clockworks,
like,
yeah.
You know, talking about little blurbs on Milch and Allegra back then in Uptown as well. So, you know, thank you for plugging, you know, and as Danny mentioned earlier, like Cloud9 back in those days, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, like, sheesh.
You know what, like, though? The one thing that, the easiest thing about what I do is when something is fucking dope, it's just easy. It's like, how do you not try to help promote dope shit? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It almost seems criminal and a disservice to not. If you have the ability, if you have a platform and you have the ability to do it, it's almost a disservice to not. You know what I mean?
Well, but I mean, not everybody hears it though, and that's the thing for us. Like, we were never chasing trends. We never really sounded.
Thank you. Yes,
we got some influences for sure, but we were never just hopping on what was hot. Even when we were trying to go for the out there, conceptual stuff, that's just kind of what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't chasing, trying to sound like Anticon at the time, or we were trying to definitely sound like mainstream stuff at that time.
Oh yeah, you could have honestly mimicked, you name it, like fill in the blank. You could have mimicked anyone from any spectrum of rap.
Right.
But you didn't.
And how many people have we seen come and go who did that?
True. Very true.
Oh man, straight up.
Yeah.
So I like why we're still doing this is doing it for not to try and be on a high horse, but like the right reasons to us. We're doing it for us.
Yo, can we be straight up right now? That's not a high horse. That's just being real.
Yeah.
That's not even a high horse. You're just being real, and that's exactly. I think that's what people kind of expect from you. So, just keep it up, man. Just be real like that. Musically, production-wise, and lyrically, I hear from literally from jump. I've heard the progression. And the one thing that has impressed me beyond all thought is the fact that the progression has been very consistent. Very consistent. Your progression was not. Your progression, straight up and down, was like this. The skill level improved very, very exponentially over a short period of time. And I'm not gassing you. I'm being completely real with you. And that's what made it easy to still be able to vibe to your shit. Because when you see that progression, I mean, come on.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely salute both of you on that.
I appreciate that, and I will totally point out as well. And I'm not the first person to say this, but with this new record, with the new Turn the Gun,
Whew.
like a number
Whew.
of pointed out to me, and I hear it myself as well, but I'm very biased, of course, because I'm part of it. Just how Gumshoe's raps are, they've always been, top notch. But he stepped it up in kind of like a different way, in a technical way that's really impressive to me. That makes me feel like I'm chasing him on this record a lot. So.
Okay. Nah. I mean, the chemistry is definitely still there. This is what, 15 years after the last one?
Yeah.
17.
Yo.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just touch on that for a second. A 15-year gap between records. Even though obviously you were still able to hone the skills, because it's not like you guys weren't rapping.
Right.
This just is the first Turn the Gun record in 15 years.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on that front, like we both have, we both have countless
Exactly.
contributions to,
Hell
many,
yeah.
many projects over the years.
Hell
right?
yeah. Done, no?
Yeah.
I have 4, 5 solo albums since then. I had 3 or 4, and then a couple group projects as well, right? Like, I mean, we're both like, working, but we're both also, like, and this is like, I mean, a lot of, there's a lot of dad rappers out there as well, but like, very family involved kind of folks. And,
Yeah.
I know for myself, like there was a period of time where I took a bit of a siesta on,
I mean,
like being super active, right? Just
yeah.
because,
Why
like
not?
I had to shift my focus.
Exactly.
And now, it's come to the time where it's like, I make music when I can make music, but because of that, like it's a lot more relaxed, and something better comes of it. So
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like, I think even when you don't have a chance to write a verse for a few months or a half year or whatever it is, like your brain's still working, and I feel like personally, like I'm still, I don't know if I want to say getting better, but like you're still taking away, you're not staying stagnant. You're not just
right.
like put it down and then it's like like it's a hobby or something. Like it's pretty ingrained in us. And and we've been on each other's solo records or group records and things like that, like pretty nonstop. But yeah, this is the first full album we did together in 15 years. And I guess what was the first one 20 plus years ago now, so Jesus.
22 years.
Wow.
I'm wondering about one thing. What was the spark for it? Did you look at each other when you say, "Hey man, we haven't done Turn the Gun record in a minute. You want to pop one out?" Or was this always kind of like this project was on the back burner until it was time for it to be ready? Like, where did the impetus come from?
Right.
We both might have like interpretations of it, but
Okay.
I'll let Danny say his first.
Okay.
It was like, like we've talked about it constantly for many, like, you got to understand, like me and BJ, like we were best men at each other's wedding and type of thing, like it's
exactly.
We're it goes way beyond rap, so we're constantly talking about things. But we were starting to work on it before the pandemic, but then the pandemic hit, and of course it's, shows are out the window, everything, and just kind of got on a bit of a, I was definitely getting on a writing tip. I started this record, and I also just finished recording a Park Like Setting record with Bazooka Joe and McEnroe that's going to come out.
Oh, look at that.
Early next year.
Ooh.
Being like the most prolific as far as output I've ever been somehow. Like really getting onto the pen game and pushing myself in different ways here, and then just going back and forth with BJ and when it started to kind of find itself into like making an actual concept album, which I've never really done before.
Right.
that it took on a life of its own of you know, where we can take this and you know, how you craft it. I've never done that before. It was really a fun process.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just like, you know, like I said, you know, taking a little bit of a siesta from music for a little bit. But like, I mean, I was always still kind of poking around with things, right? I
Right.
had beats that had been, you know, that like dope, the beats that I, you know, that are dope that like
Yeah.
just I got, you know, I have nobody to give them to. I have nobody to, you know, rap over them, right? So like every once in a while I'd send some beats over and be like, you know, like, hey, check these out, you know, let's do something, right? And you know, like at various times, you know, guys and like as he'll say constantly he's a slow writer or whatever you want to say. Like he takes his time, you know, he's very technical with it, right? So like, you know, busy with other projects, you know, in the middle of a project. So it just, you know, timing just didn't kind of, you know, come together. And then like at the same time, I wasn't super active myself, right? Like I wasn't
Right.
out there. I was just sort of like randomly sending out like, hey, we should do this, we should do that, you know, whatever, right? Like once a year maybe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then finally, like you said, the pandemic hit, and like, you know, up until that point, like I was kind of like out of the loop, completely out of the loop, and I just started poking around, and that's when, you know, I started like getting back into the swing of things, and you know, started talking to some other folks like the Saskatoon folk rap homies, and you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, I was kind of on a roll, and you know, got my Heartbeat EP going, and you know, was able to follow that up, and you know, the beats started like flowing out again, like, you know, churning out, you know, like stuff, right? And then yeah, in that time, you know, I was sending beats, and you know, yeah, I kind of like presented it back to me at that point, like, you know, I think like I have some ideas here, and it's like I think I have an idea for like, you know, a few different ideas that could work together. And then it took shape from there and really became, you know, the concept sort of flushed itself out. And yeah, we were just able to sort of start, you know, sending stuff back and forth, and you know, get together a few times to, you know, sort of like, you know, uh, record or do whatever, right? But yeah.
The record it comes at a time when we are, I mean, hopefully looking back at a very, very strange time in history that we got to experience, and the polarization that took place during that time. I'm sure we could go on about that. Literally, I feel like Winnipeg was halved into two completely. And I mean, homies looking sideways at homies. Like it was, yo, come on. Like I can't even express the craziness that I saw during the pandemic. And then for this record to come out now, I was like, damn, their timing is fucking nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Because the one thing about you guys that I've always dug is you always drop signs. You always drop signs. You kick it, you know, you rap, you produce, you basically produce dope hip hop, but then you put the icing on it. And you drop science too. And you definitely don't take your foot off the accelerator with this record. Tell us about the concept.
Well, I mean, the whole concept of the record is basically, so it's called Perpetual Survival, and it's basically maybe a documentation of a journey of trying to break the cycle of being in perpetual survival mode. You know, I think as grown-ups, most of us are there at different times. Speaking for myself, you know, I've gone through, you know, everyone's got their shit they deal with, you know, but like when, you know, my marriage fell apart, and, you know, it was not my choice and stuff. And I was becoming a new teacher, an elementary school teacher, and learning this really insane job, which you learn in school, but then really you learn on the job.
Yeah.
You know, and just feeling like you're just always just trying to get to the next day, kind of trying to be present for your kids.
Yeah, man.
best as you can, great intentions and everything, but you feel like you're just perpetually in survival mode. Like, I got my kids half the time, and they go to their mom's place, and for so long it would just be like, I just need to crash. I just need, like, I might not get out of bed this weekend, you know, like, not literally, but pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
You know? And just feeling like this isn't a way to live. Like, how do you break this? And I've done, you know, therapy, I've done all sorts of different things, but you know, this is probably the best therapy, is to do it through music, and kind of, so the progression of the songs works from being in the thick of it, being in perpetual survival mode, you know, putting your head down and going, and then starting to, like, you know, do work on yourself. We've got a song called Do the Work, and then trying to open up space for other things. We kind of take some liberties with some things, but feeling like you got some space to, you know, like the song Ally, and this other one, Hillbilly Reckoning, feeling like, you know, I always want to be a better ally. But what do you do when you just fucking don't have the time to go up to every rally you want to go to? And, you know, so just trying to incorporate different things to the end of the record, where it gets to be like, we got a song called Stress Expert, where it's like, you know, I've gone through so much shit that the worst thing could happen, and you just laugh at it, because you see, nothing's gonna kill me now. And then at the end, the very last song is We Run All the Way, which is just kind of like a celebration of sorts.
Exactly.
Like, okay, we're there. But I'll also point, like, you could, as with most art, read into things different ways. Like, it does kind of suggest as well, possibly repeating the cycle again at the end with pushing yourself, and it's like, we run hard, we go all the way, I'm ready for this. It's just like, you can get right back to where you were in the first place. So it's
you can ride it until the wheels fall off, right? Like, you can ride and you can, you know, like, put in the work, but you can still crash. You know what I mean?
Completely.
And so, like, you know, then it becomes the work to, like, you know, like, re-navigate again. So the cyclical nature of things is very much, I think, present throughout the album. You know, like, from a personal front, like, you know, like, we both have obviously, like, different things that we can draw from personally, both and myself. And I know for me, like, I mean, you know, when I was writing this record, you know, I've gone through some of the most intense things in my life, well, the most intense things in my life after writing this record, but the content of the record applies so much to these things that I've gone through, you know, post writing these songs. So, like, it's really interesting. It was almost, to me, like a foreshadowing in a story. And
the one
it's like, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I think we were
Go
losing
ahead.
your.
No, for real.
I think my battery was getting goofy, so it
Oh,
was giving
okay.
me a notification, so it paused on me.
Oh, okay.
But no, I was just saying that, like, it was almost a foreshadowing of sorts, you know, in terms of the content of the record and the nature and the concept of it, you know, and it was almost like a premonition for some of the things that, you know, I've kind of, you know, had to work through since then, and continue to work through. So yeah, I mean, like, it's a really important record to me, not only just the fact, you know, for, like, you know, the whole idea of, like, getting to, you know, work with Yai directly again, you know, the improvements that, you know, I feel were made, you know, on my part and on both of our parts in terms of, you know, our deliveries and, you know, like, songwriting, but yeah, also in terms of, you know, like, the content itself. So
yeah, I would like to point out it is a serious record, but I don't want anyone to think after hearing this, well, I don't want to listen to this for. It's so depressing. It's not. I swear it's not. Because, you know, Ally could get me on the floor, like, floor rocking, okay? I'm not fronting. Trust. It's not. I don't want anyone to get it twisted and think, oh, what are we going to listen to this record for? Nah, it's not even about that. Trust me. Just start with Ally and go from there. Because Ally, by the way, great choice for their first single.
Agreed. That was also
Great choice for a first
the
single.
song we wrote for the whole
Whew.
thing.
It's true.
So yeah, so let's just look at Ally, man. The second it kicked in, and Allies were like about 100 BPMs, so it's perfect. You're like, oh shit, yeah, okay. Like, yo, you will want to get up and want to groove to it. Trust. If you've got groove in you, trust. It'll make you want to groove. But I think even more importantly, what I liked about this record was how fucking relatable it was. God damn. I was listening to it, first time listening to it, I'm like, God damn, y'all were like speaking for a lot of us with those lyrics. You were speaking for a lot of us, dog.
One thing that I'd just point out for myself, and maybe it lends itself to, the horn tooting that I was doing for me earlier, is just like a lot of the songs on this record, I consciously tried to get out of the habit of saying I and me, right? And try to like saying like, you go through this and then this happens, or you do this work and you get this result kind of thing, right? Like, so like really trying to be relatable and speak less about like and trying not to sound like I'm complaining about something, right? But trying to talk about a situation or a circumstance, or like a feeling, or like whatever it is, but deliver it in a way that like speaks to the audience. So like that is something that I consciously attempted to do, and think was able to capture.
It worked, dog. It worked. Trust. It worked.
I totally agree with that. And Ally was like, so yeah, that was the first song we wrote for this. I think I was sitting on that beat for probably, it was definitely over a year. And it was like, give that beat to anyone else, BJ. I'd like,
that's mine.
dude, that beat was well over a year. That beat was like, 7 years old.
Damn.
Like, and he's remade it and switched it up, but like the bass was always there. And it was always just like, that's something special. And just like, I'm not just going to write, a battle rap to Ghost MC Nobody over this or something. Like, we're going to write something to this,
Yeah.
But we actually like started writing that before the pandemic and before George Floyd hit.
Okay.
Like it's always,
that doesn't surprise me.
It's always, if you go back to, Take As You Will from my first record, where we interview people on the street and turn their about indigenous people, on his head and show the mirror back to them. Like, it's always kind of been something that's our, I don't know, a priority and important to us there. But it definitely, like, started writing that song, and then everything hit with George Floyd, and it's like, okay, well, now it was going to be, and it still is. It's not just about, like, I mean, speaking for myself as a white person in hip hop, like, you got to know your place.
You're white?
Yeah. Place real quick, right? and just kind of trying to still work through certain things,
Yeah.
And how can I do this to not be, any semblance of a culture vulture or anything like that, but not just as a white person in hip hop. Then I'm as a man to women, as a straight cis man to queer transgendered people. I think it's important to do what you can where you can.
Hell yeah.
So trying to make this song kind of I don't know about an anthem, but like, in a way, kind of, like,
you wanted it to resonate.
Yeah, exactly. And probably preach into the converted and everything, but then that's just reaffirmation, like that. And
preacher on preacher. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we've known each other quite some time. Yep. We're all fathers now.
Yes.
So let's bring up some ages. Where are we at in terms of ages of our kids?
I'm at
7 years and 10 months.
Okay. That's right. Congratulations, by the way,
Thank
on
you.
your new baby.
mine are not babies. 12, 15, and 19.
Okay.
And yours
Oh,
old.
my 20 and 25.
25. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
So now I've always wanted to be able to ask this question, but I mean, not everyone is a father, just yet, kind of thing. But now I've got 3 fathers in the lounge space, so now I can actually ask this question. Now we're all heads, so there's no mistaking that. I'm sure hip hop has been playing in our households like for the entire lifespans of our children.
Right.
Are your kids into hip hop?
I mean, yours are pretty. Yeah,
No.
Like my kids, my youngest 2. So their mom makes EDM music.
Okay.
So they've actually started picking that up and doing their thing with her. For me, I've knowing your place as a white person in hip hop, the last thing I want to do is like just what's the term I'm looking for? Like, I don't want them to just assume that that's what you do, and it just seems like that would just be an entitled bastardization of what how I came in. I don't want to push
I hear that.
So
Yeah.
they have sort of an appreciation for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
But they're not listening to rap on their own.
My 7-year-old, he recognizes like Danny's voice when I'm playing stuff in the car.
Yeah.
He'll recognize, obviously he knows my stuff because I'll, be, quality checking things and things like that around him, or just, listening to, toot my own horn or whatever, and feel myself. But like, it's, he is very much into, he's 7. So, I mean,
Right.
He's very much into, what a typical 7-year-old, I would think should be into, which is, like, video game music and like, fun sounding things. He started to get into like liking rock, we'll play like like Smashing Pumpkins. My wife will play Smashing Pumpkins, in the car. Like we live in Steinbach, so we'll go on these little kicks of like going in the time machine on some songs like that. And so he's kind of gotten into like some of those kind of songs, and he really enjoys them. He just finds them like exciting, right? But yeah, the most exciting thing that I got him into was a Block Party song, "Hunting for Witches."
So this is probably more for Yai. Okay, and I just want to mention one thing. The funny thing about it is when you've known each other long enough, the whole switching between the government and street, and you know what I'm saying? It's like I literally almost called you Danny, but then it would have been okay if I called you Danny. So I mean,
Okay, I'll take that.
So this is probably more for Danny. Now, when you're in the whip, who controls the steering?
I mean, the person that's driving. Which,
Okay, you would think, right?
so unless it's my eldest, it's me. But then
No, it's funny because we're now in our parents' shoes essentially, right?
Yeah.
We are literally in our parents' shoes now, and because I know me personally, like the youngest one's the only one that would be in the same whip with me anyway, because the older one has his own whip. But if we're on the whip, it's literally like, okay, who's gonna get to that first? Whose phone's gonna sync up faster? And whoever gets it faster, then it's yours.
Yeah, that's me and my wife for sure.
So nuts, man. I mean, and obviously we don't expect our children to become heads, obviously.
Right.
Because they're their own people, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But one can't help wonder, was there maybe like a little part of you that was like, man, I hope they become the next, DMC champion or the next, battle champion or some shit?
I don't know. To me, that's, again, with my journey of finding my place in hip hop and stuff, like, I don't think that can be replicated these days.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah, and it's just like if they found it in the right ways, I would school them in different ways. But it's more than anything, like, if my kid comes home and they've, it comes home from school and kind of like heard something from a friend from when they were younger or something, and would be like, yo, 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 it's like, whoa, 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 like, let's talk about, like, yes, this is where I put
Yeah.
priority on that. So what would that do if
Right.
I am pushing on them that it's just like, oh no, you got this in your blood. You can rap.
Yeah.
How would that turn out? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Oh. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're figuring it out as we go, but like, no, I don't expect that. If something happened for the right reasons and stuff, I suppose like anything, you would be a proud parent.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
too, so it's what it is, right?
Okay, I'll be straight up. I'll credit a segment of the Gen Z demographic because they're way more open about music than we were growing up, I think.
Right.
Way more open about music. Where, I mean, just from what I've seen, from the boys alone, is like they're open to their musical palette is way wider than mine was at that age, because I was just hip hop. That's it, just hip hop. But their musical palette is so much wider that it's like, well, y'all actually are better because if you got a wider musical palette.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely credit that. Well, just a segment. Sorry, I'm just gonna say just a segment. Now the record is out now. It is on Bandcamp. Right? You've got physical media. I believe you've got cassette and CD.
Correct.
Is there going to be any vinyl pressed?
Not for the full length. We did do a limited run of a 7-inch for
Ally, right?
With the B-side being We Run All the Way, but
which is available as well.
Yeah, well, not anymore. It
Oh
sold
well.
out pretty quick. Like I said,
it's sold out. Sorry, guys.
It sold out of 20 copies. I mean, come on. But that's what's good about it. It's a niche, and we knew what the market was. So, I made sure that I pressed up, and it got to the people that really appreciate it and follow us and are gonna pick that up. So that, and then digital streaming will drop on Tuesday. So.
Word. Are there going to be visuals forthcoming at all?
I mean, it'd be nice, but given our schedules, I doubt it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a little.
You never know. I mean, like, it just takes somebody, like pushing for it and having a quick little idea to get something done on the quick. I mean, I did a video for my last solo record.
Yeah.
That I just did, like in my basement in a couple hours.
Right.
And then just edited on my phone and,
exactly, because you can
got it out there. So I mean, so it's possible, like, to whip something up on the quick. But I don't know.
Okay, I'm poking both of you. This is me saying get some visuals out. Sorry, I just got to say it. Poke. Yeah, no, I really think that there should be some visuals. I feel like, because especially now in the way music is sold now, I mean, people will pay more attention to visuals.
Right.
Sure.
Not that you don't have your market, because we all know you do. Your market is solid. I know that the supporters of Turn the Gun and the Gumshoe Strut Yy are very, very solid. But I feel like so many more people could be enjoying your shit.
Yeah, and that, you're totally right. Music is consumed in a different way these days.
And I so I'm poking you again, by the way.
Well, hey,
you guys need someone to shoot? Is that all you need? Someone to shoot? We can make that happen, by the way.
We always come into these things with really, like, or at least myself, come in with really grand plans.
Right.
And really like, I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this for it, and everything, and like gonna do it right this time, but inevitably, things just roll out the way they roll out.
Yeah.
And I'm also at that age where it's like, like, this is all DIY.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a machine. Right. Like I'm not a market, like, I work in marketing, daily for my job. So, trying to market my music and, like, because I know what goes into it.
Yeah.
If you really want to like try to do it and what it costs. And I'm just not into that. So,
I feel you.
you know,
You could put a
like
team together
could
to
put
do
a
the work
team
for
together,
you.
but that's also work too.
Yeah.
And my social
That's even more
skills,
work.
my social skills to build a team, isn't of that. Like I don't like asking for help a lot. That's why I do a lot of this stuff. Like the cassettes that we have, they're all DIY. Like they're
Yeah.
handcrafted covers, labels, all that kind of stuff. Like I construct the cassettes. I did the packaging design, like, like all that kind of stuff, right?
See, but that's a plus. That just makes the product even more worthy. You know what I mean? Knowing you did it like that. If I didn't know you guys, but I was like into Turn the Gun and I was always into, Gumshoe Strut Yy, and then this new record came out and then you said, you're gonna drop on cassette. I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. So I can go and go get a vintage Walkman, some shit, so I can bump this. And then I find out that you constructed it yourself. Honestly, that just brings the value up of that cassette.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yep.
and again, they're, limited runs, right?
Yep.
So, there's something special to these albums, which is another way to look at it.
Yep.
One thing I would like to say, regarding like building a team and everything like that. I mean, we got this Saskatoon folk rap thing going on that
Exactly.
I'm a little more directly involved with than Yai is, but we're all homies, right? Like I see Chaps is rocking it, joined the chat recently. Like he's like a cornerstone of that crew, epic cornerstone of the crew. Our homie Rove, cornerstone of the crew. He's about to drop an album next week featuring a bunch of really, really dope, underground artists. This record that we just put out, Turn the Gun, like it's one of the first times that I actually like reached out to somebody regarding getting it mixed and mastered outside of my own hands.
Okay.
So I would always like mix my own records.
Yeah, you always did your own shit.
I got McEnroe to master the Heartbeat EP, but with Styles Make Fights, I kind of did it all myself. But I kind of wanted to see about, getting something external for this one. And our homie Sign One, he goes under the handle at Sign One Jerk. Like sign.
Oh yeah.
Letter one jerk.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's from the U.S. Really talented artist himself, producer, rapper, but also really talented in terms of his skills on the mix and master. And so he put in a lot of hours on this record.
Nice.
Going back and forth with me, sending me passes of all the mixes and everything like that. So he needs a huge shout out, and a huge amount of credit goes out to him for doing the work on this record. Like, it bangs, and it wouldn't bang the way that it bangs if,
without that ear.
Without that ear, right?
Yeah.
Like if it was me doing it, it wouldn't have the same punch. It would have its own qualities, but it wouldn't have that same punch. And I think, I've had people tell me that, it really brings out my production on this one, like where they can really, like it really draws them in a little bit more, and they can kind of hear, like certain qualities that they might not have been able to hear, like from previous projects. So yeah, huge shout out there.
While we're on the topic of shout outs, Sign One, of course, salute. Thank you, because your fingers touching this project definitely sonically worked. You also mentioned a couple of fellas that we cannot not give major props to. All right, Chaps.
Yes, sir.
And Epic.
Absolutely.
You can't talk Canadian rap without mentioning those two fellas. So we've got to give it up.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Got to give it up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And one of the sweetest humans you will ever meet in your entire life as well. Love.
And is that so much better when they are sweet humans, though?
They are. Well, we're surrounded by.
Yeah, like
yeah,
it's something we're attracted to.
The one thing about this industry that, I mean, you know, because y'all know we meet enough folks over the years, but it's like you don't always, I mean, industry contacts are either acquaintances, close acquaintances, friends, or homies. Obviously homies, much smaller pool, but when you meet, you know, industry contacts that become homies and you actually get to know each other as like humans and people, man, that, you know what I'm saying? That's so live, man.
It is.
Seriously.
And I think with our expanded crew, which we could probably list off 20, but like talking about all the PNC homies.
Exactly. We could aerate Siren all day.
Crap homies, you know, the freak show homies going back and things like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who are it goes way beyond the music, where for every time we hang out with something music related, you know, we're easily hanging out 5 times just on a porch having a beer, you know, like it's you know, it's a lot deeper than rap. So that's
exactly
priceless. It really is.
I feel like that's an actual joint, isn't it? Deeper than rap? Isn't there a joint called Deeper Than Rap? I swear there is. I don't know. Anyway, I've got one more question for you because it's something I'm really curious about. Yeah. What are we bumping in terms of modern day rap? What are y'all digging right now?
One guy that I'm really feeling. So I'm still, you know, I'm old. I'm stuck in my ways. I'm still checking out the people that I used to listen to.
I mean, come on, of course.
The Project Blow guys, LA Cool.
Hey.
9 is a god.
Shout out Mike and 9. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but as far as like newer guys, Toby, I'm gonna fuck up the name. Toby and Guiwe.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love that guy. He's
okay.
Kind of like an evolution of Big Crit to me, which I also really like Big Crit.
Okay.
So yeah, that's something. As far as bigger things, I might get roasted for this one because of things that have happened outside his music. But just as far as being a talented major label rapper, the Baby is actually rapping his ass off. I was check it, and then I checked it about 2 years ago, and it's like, holy fuck, this guy can like rap his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always identify with, you know.
Yeah, some sus things going in, but you know, but you can rap.
As far as the rap goes, that guy's talented as hell. So I still check out everything he does, anyways. But
word.
Yeah, and then I got that Nas and Black Thought.
Yes, that new Danger and Black Thought record. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my god.
It's getting better.
Oh my god.
I don't even need to, you know, comment now. That's exactly what I was going to point out. Like, I'm pretty set in my ways. So, you know, like it goes full circle, right? Like talked about the roots at the beginning of this interview. And, you know, here we are, like, you know, that Black Thought and Danger Mouse.
Fuck yeah.
Like, I've only listened to it once and, you know, kind of heard tidbits, you know, outside of that. But like, holy shit, like it's right up my alley. So yeah, like that's
nice.
That's going to get a lot of plays. And then, you know, like, I listen to a lot of the homies. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's something that, you know, like just, you know, I love hearing the people that I know.
Yes.
Say
oh my God.
Awesome
You
shit,
are so,
you know what I mean?
you so hit it right on, man. We love listening to our homies because we love what our homies do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also like, you know, because of the, you know, we're not the only ones that are, you know, speaking from, you know, like this personal like aspect, right? Like, I mean, if you listen to Bazooka Joe's most recent album, I mean, it's the window into like, you know what I mean? Like to the things that, you know, like the stories that he's telling, like, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
It's so good. And, you know, Pip Skid's most recent album, A Really Nice Day, again, you know, same thing. It's like
that Pip record's dope though.
It's so dope. It's you know, it's back to like, you know, like we're talking, you know, like that, you know, political whatever, I don't want to classify it with some sort of terminology or whatever,
Yeah,
but
there's
it's
no
just
need to.
the content is just, it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
It's personal, but yet it's like funny and like witty and just, yeah, it's all the things it needs to be. And then McEnroe's production is outrageous, still to this day. So yeah, like I still like listening to the homies, and then all the homies, like I said, from Saskatoon folk rap, they're all doing really cool shit. Rob Crooks, like if you haven't heard Rob Crooks' most recent projects,
So
like go do it because it's outside of the box. Like, if you're looking for like rap, like it's outside of the box, and that dude can rap his fucking ass off too.
And he always
That's the
could though,
thing.
right?
No, that's the thing, is he can rap his ass off, but he's made a conscious effort to, like not sit within, some sort of constraint of like
Right.
what, a song or what an album or anything needs to be, right? And so he's like creating these, these pieces of music that are, really dope.
Yeah,
And
you've
then,
piqued my
like I
interest.
said,
I'm gonna give it a listen.
other-
You piqued my interest.
the other homies from the Saskatoon folk rap crew, like just, like you're gonna hear some different stuff. So, shout outs like, dudes like Kits Willman and, Rove. He's a producer out of Saskatoon. He's doing some really cool things. The homie Chaps, I don't know if I'm allowed to, say it or not, but he's got a rap album coming.
Oh damn.
Where he may or may not rap. And it's, some cool shit happening like just across the board amongst the homies. So that's what that's what I listen to a lot of.
And everyone's been really productive in the last while.
Yeah.
Like I made a record right before this with Gruff.
Mm-hmm.
During getting Gruff out, and he's always writing, but like, fuck, man, that was so fun to make that record. And
yeah, man.
Everyone's on top of their game, working on things right now. And, nobody stopped, but people definitely slowed down. And
yeah.
weren't as prolific as in past years, and now it's just
and that's fine. It's completely fine. I mean, y'all alluded to it earlier. Like this is an ebb and flow type of trajectory, right?
Yep.
And you've been through it. I mean, I think, in all honesty, if I think about everyone I know in the industry, I can't think of anyone who hasn't gone through it.
Sure.
So it's just part of the ebb and flow of the trajectory. It's all gravy.
It is, and I guess we're looking at like a pretty big breadth of time. Like some people,
exactly.
And if they take that lull, they just never get back into it. Once you're talking about people who've done this for 20, 25 plus years, having a couple of years between projects and stuff isn't that crazy. But that being said, I won't spill it for everything, but like there's more projects coming for people, all of the crews, real soon. So it's
solid.
Yeah.
Do we have any upcoming shows?
I don't know. Do we?
No.
Okay.
I live in Steinbach, so it's gonna be hard.
I know. That's what I was asking. Like, man, getting shows together, and then with your schedules, and then trying to, it could be a little.
But hopefully, I mean, it'd be nice to, at least play one show, for this record.
Right. I think it would.
We'll see what we can pull together, but
Yeah, and I kind of might have messed things up a little bit by I dropped my record with Gruff Mental Health Day in December, but this couldn't happen because of the lockdown. So we did our album release just
like what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, right before this album dropped. Might pull a little bit of thunder, unfortunately, from that. But we're definitely going to make that happen at some point here, and I mean, we played one song off of it at that show, but I'm definitely excited to play proper sets with this. We'll have to make it to Saskatoon as well. I see you, Saskatoon.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, fellas, it has been a pleasure. It's been great catching up with both y'all. It's been awesome talking about this record. I was really looking forward to this because I knew it was going to be good. I legit was not worried about how this is going to go at all. I knew it was going to be as good as it has been because I knew once we started talking, it was like, you won't be able to touch us after this. Trust. So I want to thank you for spending some time in the lounge space with us today. And BJ, you already know this. This is open door policy going forward. Anytime you have something pop and you got something go on and you just knock on that door, we open it up. You've got lounge chairs with your names on it. There's the Gumshoe Strut chair right there. There's Yai chair right there. You just get right back in there, and then we just get right back to it. All right? Anytime you got something popping, you just got to knock.
Appreciate it, man. Good.
Hell yeah,
sir.
all day.
Thank you so much.
The name of the record is
Perpetual Survival.
And they can get it how?
They can visit the gumshoestrut.bandcamp.com. It'll be available Tuesday on streaming services. So you can visit at @the_gumshoe_strut on Instagram. Check the link in my bio, and you will be able to get yourself a pre-save link. So, that always helps for something. I'm not even sure what, but they're always telling me to do it for other records. So
It's algorithm shit.
Do it for ours,
It's algorithm shit. Trust me. Yo, the one thing, I'll just touch on it real quick. I think the one thing that accepting how music is sold now and accepting how music is consumed now, the algorithm, as shitty as that word is really important.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's very important. So if you really want to support your favorite artists, you've got to do those pre-save links. You've got to pre-save. Because that helps that project move through the algorithm to get a little higher up. So when the artist asks you for something as easy as a pre-save link, just to click, do it. Trust me, you are helping them more than you realize.
Appreciate the explanation.
All day, every day. You're going to
get it from me.
and we can't forget, coming soon, the Ally visuals. Poke. You know what? I might have to set a reminder and give you guys weekly reminders to get that visual out.
That's a good idea.
I live in Steinbach, so I'm proposing we do a video for Hillbilly Reckoning.
Ooh. Okay. You see how he put out into the universe? See how talking about visuals, put that out into the universe? There you go. Coming soon. Hillbilly Reckoning visuals.
Word up.
Thanks again, fellas. Enjoy your weekend.
Hold your breath.
Good to see you. All right.
Peace, y'all.
Thanks, man. Peace.
Okay, Kevin, just don't.